Alright, we are going to do 6.1, which is the law of sines. So we did the law of cosines earlier to solve for side lengths and angles, and now we're going to use the law of sines. The law of sines is actually easier. You just have to have specific information in order to use it. So the law of sines is going to be based on proportions, so we just have to remember how to solve proportions. So proportions are two equal ratios or two fractions that equal to each other, and we can cross multiply over the equal sign. Okay, so 8 times x is 8x. You set it equal to your cross product. 6 times 4 is 24, and then you just solve for x, so x is 3. Okay, so that's just a quick trying to remind you how to use proportions. Okay, cross multiply, divide. So the law of sines are proportions as well. So basically, in order to use the law of sines, you have to have things that match. Like you have to have an angle and a side length that have the same letter in order to be able to set up a full proportion. You do not need all three. You're using a whole one and part of another one in order to solve for a missing piece. So if you were going to use this, you would have to have either both sine A and angle A, or angle A and side A, or you would have to have both angle B and side B. You have to have a complete proportion in order to use the law of sines, which means you have to have matching letters, angle A and side A, or something of the sort. And then one of something else, and then you can find the other one. But you have to have matching letters. You can set it up with the angle and the side together, or two angles and two sides. I typically do the one with the angle and the side. I usually use this one because we have to have things that match in order to use it, so I just think it's easier to keep them together, keep the A's together and the B's together. So this says in triangle ABC, angle A is 40 degrees and side A is 8. So you can see right away you have a side and an angle that match. These are both A's. So that means you're using the law of sines. So if you have matching letters, you use the law of sines. And then you have angle B, and you need to find side B. Okay? So the way that this is going to get set up, it's the law of sines. So it's the sine of your angle. So we'll do angle A. So it's the sine of 40 over side A, which was 8. So there's my complete proportion. And then I set it equal to the sine of my other angle, which is 62, over the side length that I'm looking for, which is side B. So it's just A over A and B over B. Okay? So that's what this says. And then once you have two equal ratios, you just use cross multiplication in order to solve. So B times the sine of 40, I can't actually do anything there, so I just do B sine 40, and you set it equal to your other cross product, which is going to be 8 times the sine of 62. So you're going to put 8 times the sine of 62 in your calculator, and you get B sine 40 equals roughly 7.0635, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to leave it in my calculator because, again, there's no point in rounding before I'm done when my calculator can do all of that. So I'm going to hold off on taking it out of my calculator and just see what else I need to do. I need to divide by the sine of 40 in order to get B by itself. So divide whatever's in your calculator, just leave it in there and hit divided by sine 40. And it's a side length that we are solving for, so we're going to do side lengths to the nearest tenth. So that is, right now it says 10.9889. So the nearest tenth, this 8's going to turn the 9 into a 10, so this is actually going to be 11.0. Okay? And that's it. Just set up your proportions and cross multiply. So let's look at this one. Triangle KLM, the measure of angle K is 45 and side K is 20. So there's your matching pair right off the bat, angle K and side K. So before you do anything, you can set up that half of the proportion. So you have the sine of your angle, which is 45, over the matching side length, so angle K goes with side K, so 20, equals, the measure of the angle M is 105, and we're looking for the side M, so sine 105 over little m. Okay, which is what we have. So then we cross multiply. And we're going to get m times the sine of 45 equals 20 times the sine of 105. Okay. So you put the right-hand side in your calculator, so 20 times the sine of 105 is 19.3 something. What you have to do to get angle M by it, or side M by itself, is you divide by the sine of 45. So again, you just leave that 20 times the sine of 105 in your calculator, don't round it out, and just then hit divided by the sine of 45. And we're going to get that side M is 27.3. That's to the nearest tenth. And then that's it. Okay, I am going to redo that one and pretend like we didn't have an angle, because we are going to need to know how to do that as well. So if they would have given me side M and not angle M, okay, we would need to solve for angle M. So this was this first part would stay the same. So they gave me 45 and 20, so I have a whole set there. But if they did not give me M, so I'm going to write the sine of M over 27.3. Okay, so if I'm solving for an angle instead of a side length, I can still do that. So I'll cross multiply. So that's 27.3 times the sine of 45 equals 20 times the sine of angle M. So if I do 27.3 times the sine of 45, I get 19.3 something. Then I have to divide it by 20. Which is going to give me a decimal. So right now I have 0.9652, blah, 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 blah. But that's because that's the sine of my angle. So again, if I know the sine of my angle, I find my angle by hitting second sine, second answer. And then I'm going to get 75 degrees for angle M. Okay, which works. This is just one of the cases where we can have two triangles, so we'll get there. But so angle M could also be 75, but that's how you have to do it if you have to find an angle, is you cross multiply, do all the division and all that stuff, but then that's the sine of your angle, so then you have to second sign your answer in order to get it. Okay, that's it. 6-1.